Welcome to the Godly Playroom at First United Church in the city of Wetaskiwin. My name is Ruth Lomax, and it is my privilege to welcome you into this space and to help you get ready to enter it. This is a crossover space between all the things that are going on in the world around us and intentional time to be with God. This is also a crossover time in the church calendar year. As much as New Year's will be celebrated January 1st in the rest of the world, the church celebrates New Year's with the beginning of Advent, time of the color blue. Sometimes, or in some churches, it's also purple. So I wonder what you need to be ready today. Perhaps there are things you need to set down or to lay aside. There may be things you want to have ready. A candle of your own to light, some materials for a response, whether that's to cut and paste or color or draw or journal or paint or work with your hands in some clay or Play-Doh. And you may also want to have something to share in the feast as we anticipate the one who's coming is about such abundant life. And so whenever you're ready, I'll invite you to take a deep breath and come and join the circle. Welcome to the circle. It is so good to have you here with us as we are getting ready for that time of year when everything changes. We'll be changing a few things here, but I see that some things have already changed. Today we begin the season of Advent. You can see by the clock on the wall, we are about to enter that time of the color blue. So let's just take another moment to have a deep breath and settle ourselves into this time together with God and with a story. We remember that once there was someone who said such amazing things and did such wonderful things that people began to follow him. And the more they followed him, the more they wondered who he was. And one time they just had to ask, "Who are you?" And one time when they asked him that question, he said, "I am a light." Advent begins that time when we come close to the light, to the mystery that is Christmas. I'm going to put the candle back up on the shelf and then we'll get ready for our story. If you need to pause the video at any time to get your materials ready or to take a break, feel free to do so. And come on back whenever you're ready. Welcome back. Now is the time of the color blue. It reminds us of the Mother Mary, who said yes to God, and without whom the baby might not have been born. It is the time of getting ready, the season of Advent. And it's a time when we change the colors in the Godly Playroom as a way of helping us be ready and remember the changing of the seasons and the one who's coming. We celebrate, and the one who has come is still coming, and that's just full of mystery. And so today's story helps us get ready a bit to enter into that mystery. This is the Holy Family. Whenever you see something like this, sometimes people will say, don't touch, it might break. But this Holy Family is for you to work with whenever you're in this space. So let's have a look. Here is the Christ child with his arms open wide to give the world a hug. And here is the Mother Mary. And the Father Joseph. And the donkey that Mary rode when she and Joseph were on their way to Bethlehem to be counted by the Roman soldiers. Mary was about to have a baby, and it's very hard to walk when you're about to have a baby, so sometimes she would ride the donkey. But it's very hard to ride a donkey when you're about to have a baby, and sometimes she would get off and walk. Here is the cow, who was so surprised on that first Christmas morning when she went to her manger for her breakfast and found a baby instead. Here is an angel. And a shepherd and a sheep, to remind us of those shepherds who were watching over their flocks on that night in the hills around Bethlehem, when suddenly they saw a bright light and they heard a great noise and they were very afraid until they heard the words of the song. The angels sang, "Don't be afraid. We bring tidings of good news that is great joy for all the earth." They told the shepherds to hurry and go to Bethlehem to see the child that was born. And the shepherds did. And here are the Magi, the three wise ones from the east. They are so wise, people thought they were magic, which is where we get our word magic from. What they were called in their own language, the Magi. They knew about many things, but what they knew about most were the stars. And they knew where every star in the sky was. And then one night, a wild star appeared. And it wasn't on any of their star charts. And it didn't stay still. And so they set out to follow the star all the way to Bethlehem, where the Christ child was born. Here's the Christ child with his arms open wide to give you a hug. That child grew up to be a man, and he died on a cross, which is very sad, but also kind of wonderful in an Easter kind of way, because now his arms are open wide to give the whole world a hug. And he is not just back then, but he can be everywhere and in any time. And that changes everything. And so we change our colors. Here is the Christ child. Here is the Mother Mary and the Father Joseph, who both said yes to God, and without whom the baby might not have been born. Here is the donkey that Mary rode, and the cow that was so surprised that first Christmas morning. Here is one of the angels that sang about that good news of great joy. There were probably many more angels, but that one is enough to help us with our story. And the shepherd and the sheep, who saw the great light and heard the singing and hurried to Bethlehem. And the Magi, who were so wise and so curious, they were willing to set out and follow that wild star. This is the Holy Family, and it is for you to work with whenever you're in this room. I'm going to get my materials ready for response. If you want to pause the video and find something to create your response or to do some more wondering about this family, feel free to do so. Welcome back. I wonder what you found for your art materials. I found some tissue paper, and I've had my eye on this sparkly gold paper for a while. And I also found a piece of paper that's folded to make a card. And I got thinking about the Holy Family and how we're part of that family, and there are so many other people that are part of this family, even animals and creatures and this earth that are part of that family, and the stars in the sky. And so I thought I might make a card to give to someone. It's kind of that time of year when people are starting to think about Christmas cards and sending greetings to people. And so I thought I would make one. I wonder if your family has something like this. Maybe you have more than one of them. I have at least 3, I think. People seem to think it's a good gift for a minister. And each of them is a little different, and they have their own story. Which is perhaps a good reminder that the Holy Family can be so different, and yet still part of the same family. I wonder which of the Holy Family you like best. Or if there is one of them that is special for you. Maybe you have other things that you're getting ready at this time of year. Some people do some traveling. Although most of us, I don't think, would want to have to do the kind of traveling that Mary and Joseph had to do. Especially not just before having a baby. Some people like to put up a Christmas tree. Some people celebrate with lights. Some people don't celebrate at all. I often think that it's kind of sad. Maybe you think about the shepherds. And they were kind of people who lived outside of the civilized part of town. Sometimes we don't always look favorably on people who live in different places or dress or live rough on the land. The shepherds were special. They had a job to do. And it was to them that that good news came first. To the lowest, from the least. I wonder if you've ever had an angel come with a message for you. I think it could be quite scary. But people have also said it's kind of comforting. I wonder what good news you would like to hear this Advent season. We'll have been finished with a convention of parties on climate change that was meeting in Egypt. And their hope was to be about a radical shift in how we look after the earth. Perhaps for us this Advent season to think of the earth and its creatures as also part of God's holy family. That we need to find ways not only to get along with each other, but to ensure that the earth and its creatures thrive as much as we do. Maybe even more so. Our lives depend upon it. I think it's a good thing that the Christ child's arms are open wide to give everyone a hug. I'm going to finish writing out my card. You can pause the video if you like and take a little more time to finish your work, and then come on back for feast. Well, I wonder what you found for your feast. I found a muffin and some water, which is always a good thing. But before we have our beverage and our feast together, let's say our prayers. Thank you, God, for this time together, for the changing seasons, the coming of the light, and the one whose presence enfolds us all with love. In our gathering and getting ready during this season of Advent, may we be more mindful of you and of the other members of your holy family. Amen. So I wonder what you're doing in your household to get ready at this time of year. Maybe some extra baking. A little more thorough house cleaning. Maybe you're looking forward to being out of school. Hopefully you haven't been out of school too much already, being sick. I've been trying to think of ways I could buy gifts or make gifts for people that isn't just the kind of stuff that's going to end up in the landfill, but things that people might really need or want. Maybe recycle some gifts, or instead of buying a gift for someone who has an awful lot of stuff already, maybe making a donation to Gifts with Vision or the local homeless shelter or food bank. There are so many ways that we can offer our care, put our arms out around this world, and make a difference. I wonder what gift you will give this year. And before we know it, it's time to change the light. So watch what happens. Some people miss this part. Oh, there it goes. And it is spreading out and filling this room. And it will find its way to wherever you are. And even when we can't see it anymore, it's still there. And so until we meet again, God bless. Be well and look after one another.